Hello and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name's Adam Cook, and you know that because you listen every week like a good person that you are. With me this week, returning, is the Nintendo Switch to my Nintendo Wii U. It's Chris White.
Hello, how are you?
How are you, mate? Oh yeah, I'm great. You?
Oh yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm just, well, like we all are, a little sleepy.
Yeah, I mean, I like to always ask, whenever I'm one of those people that whenever someone says, I'm fine, I can't leave it, I feel like, you sure? You sure you're okay?
No.
You may have just heard Gary there laughing. He is, now hang on a minute, I didn't have one for this.
You're going to call me like the virtual boy, aren't you, or something? Just...
well, no, I was going to go for... I did have one, I'll be honest with you, right? I had one and I thought it's going to be really funny, but then I thought perhaps it's a bit too rude for the first minute of the podcast, and I'm not going to lie, Gads, I've bottled it, so we'll go with the... no, that's too nerdy. No, we'll go with the Killzone to my Horizon Zero Dawn. Gary, how are you?
Alright, thanks.
I like Killzone, by the way.
Like Chris, I'm a bit sleepy. Got a bit of the hay fever going on, which is awesome.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, otherwise, I'm alright.
Well, the thing is, right, because we're having, anyone not in the UK, we're having some lovely, beautiful weather at the moment. There's not a cloud in the sky, and it's really nice. And that would have segued beautifully into me talking about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which we will do, but we did kind of promise it, and we've got to get stuck into it, because while none of us have played it, Chris has. Well, rather, none of us have played it last week. Chris has, and had, and is Nintendo LABO, Chris.
Yes, Nintendo LABO.
Best thing in the world ever?
No.
Oh,
but it's
okay.
it's a weird one because it feels like it's not aimed at everyone. It's like, so I've spent the last week or so with it, constantly building every product that it has. And
actually, I wanted to ask you this, and I've been saving it for the podcast. So. When you open the variety pack, I know you got both, but when you open the variety pack, which is the one that you can make the fishing rod and blah, 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 all that with, right?
Yes.
So is the fishing rod a different section of cardboard to the piano? Are they? So have you got a room full of a piano, a fishing rod thing, a steering wheel? I've run out of a little house thing. Are they all completely separate, or do you repurpose, say, the keyboard into the fishing rod?
So my living room is full of cardboard at the minute. Basically you build it all separately, so you don't take anything from one to build another. The pack comes in like there's about 15 to 20 pieces of cardboard, and like 4 of them are like color coded, and then there's a little icon of a piano at the top left hand corner, and then there's like 5 or 6 blue, and there's a little fishing rod icon. Same with the motorbike. What else? The house.
Piano, the house.
Yeah,
the RC cars.
The RC car's like one piece of cardboard because it takes seconds to build, really.
Right. Okay. Let's get into this. Right, Gary. I'm going to ask Chris to do something now. I'm going to put him right on the spot. So, is it 5 things you listed there? The RC car, the fishing rod. We're just listing these. This podcast is just us listing LABO over and over again. So you got the RC car, fishing rod, the house, the piano, and the steering wheel.
Yes.
The motorbike, right?
Yes.
Rank them for us. And do it top of the pop star. So in 5, go from the worst to the best.
Hang on, let me just have a think. Okay.
Go on.
Okay, so from
You like
5,
this,
from 5 we have the RC car. It's a very, very small piece of cardboard. It's fine. It does a little bit. It moves around. It's kind of a test to the LABO series. At number 4, we have the piano. As good as it is to
a surprise entry,
as good as it is to play, Joy to the World on it and all that jazz. You can change the sounds, and that's fine. And you can record it, but other than that, that's it. It doesn't have much lasting power if you're not bothered about, playing the fucking Beethoven symphony on it. Number 3, I'm going to put the motorbike, because at the event, I wasn't really sure how it was supposed to work, but in the instructions when you get it, you're supposed to have it on your lap and kind of hold it against your body because that can kind of helps you get a good grip on the steering. And whilst there are a few tracks on there and there's different difficulties, you can build your own tracks simply by entering the process and then moving the controllers around to form a track. So you can have loops, you can have all sorts. And that's kind of cool because you can then, I believe, you can upload them. I will check that before you get to read the review. But you can build whatever you want in terms of tracks, which is kind of cool. At number 2, I'm going to go with the house. Now, the house, whilst not necessarily it is my cup of tea, my girls absolutely adore it because it's essentially a Switch Tamagotchi. And you've got your main house and your Switch screens in the middle, and then there's 3 points where you've got 3 different kind of things you put into it, and there's like it's really hard to describe unless you're seeing it. But they're like bolts, like the piano where you put them in the top left hand corner. They're like bolts, and one of them is like a button that you can press in, and other ones that you like turn it like a switch, I guess. And then the other one's like a fishing rod where you wind it in. And by putting them in different parts of this unlocks a little mini game. So you've got a little bowling mini game, which is really good. You've got like a left to right kind of platformer game, which I'm really bigging this up. It's not a platformer. It's just this little creature going from left to right collecting gems. But for the girls, they love it. And then there's like, you can mess around with a light in there. You can collect loads of sweets by unlocking like this jelly bean machine, and there's just loads of random little bits that, you know, makes this little creature live this life. So for the girls, they're loving playing with it because it's like right up their alley. But for an adult, I can't see myself checking in every day, making sure that he's had enough jelly beans and he's had enough sleep. But it's a really kind of, it's a really cool little thing, which I didn't think there was that much to the house when I saw it at the event. So that's good. And number 1, without a shadow of a doubt, is a fishing rod. Like it's so like soothing. So you've got on the floor, you'll put like this thing you've built, which is like a holder for the Switch, and it holds it up. So it's kind of going like not horizontally but vertically. And then your fishing rod, the actual wire, is kind of attached into the box that's on the floor, and there's a little mechanism in there that creates some torque. So you've got like it's got the tension, and then you sat up with your fishing rod, and you're literally just fishing. You just sat there, chilled out, looking for a whopper. Podcast hole.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll change it from the one I already had. That's way better. Looking for a whopper. Thank you. That's what I hate you
didn't go with like the Red Dwarf quote. The condom fishing.
Smoke me a kipper. Oh right, yeah.
And it's just dead soothing. Like, and I wouldn't play it for hours on end, but I could quite happily sit there and do a bit of fishing. And you know, the end game of the whole Labo is there's stuff to do. But unless you're unless you're into kind of the Discover side of it, then I can't see like adults choosing this over anything else.
So an advert for this came on the TV, and my wife said, "Oh, that looks really cool. The fishing looks amazing." And I got irritable straight away because it's like, I obviously, you know, you or I could have reviewed this, and I thought, well, it'd be better if you did it because I'll be honest, I don't think my kids would be interested, and I think we're too busy at the moment that my wife wouldn't be interested. So it made sense for you with younger children because I think that's who it's aimed at, to give it a fair crack of the whip.
Yeah.
So I was irritable knowing that she then wanted to do it, and I thought, you know what, I might just buy this. I do like the idea of it, and I like everything behind it sounds cool. However, the things that stop me buying it are, well, first of all, I feel like, and this is just, I guess, first world problems, I suppose. I feel like it's £10 too expensive, and I know that's a really silly, arbitrary number, but not to sell a sob story, I don't have a lot of money, and so if I'm going to go and buy something, it has to be something I'm sure I'm going to really get my money's worth out of, because quite simply I don't have any money, and it feels like the Labo is enough of a gamble that if it were £10 cheaper I'd be okay with it, but as it stands, and I'm not interested in the robot, I will say, at all. It's just that, again, it's more expensive, and like 4 hours build, nah, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'd find the 4 hours to build it, and I'd rather be playing God of War for another 4 hours, you know.
Yeah.
But the variety pack does interest me because the fishing looks fun. It all looks good, actually. I like the idea of the piano. It's that the piano itself looks small enough that it wouldn't be too much of a thing taking up room. But aside the £10, every time I look at it, every time I look into it, every time I read about it, look at videos on it, all I think to myself is, the thing that looks fun is the building. And after the building, nothing I've seen looks all that much fun, or I should say, looks like I would play it more than once. Like, it looks like the kind of thing I would build it, and we'd all have fun, sat around a table, my wife and kids. Because my kids are of that age now where, like, they say, oh, no, I don't want to watch a movie. So you stick a movie on, and they come downstairs and they see it, and they kind of just plonk themselves. I was watching a Dragon Ball Z movie on Netflix, and my eldest, who I would never have thought would be interested in it, kind of, because the dog was up, he had to sit there with us, and we were all helping out, and he just ended up really enjoying it. And it's like, I really enjoyed that. Do you have any more Dragon Ball Z? So they're kind of like that. So I know if I started with LABO, they'd get involved and they'd enjoy it. But I just feel like after that, those games just don't look engaging enough that I would. Again, I really feel like they're kind of like, I play them once, oh, that's cool, and it's almost a bit like. And I'm sure the Wii itself was a bit like that with bowling. Like, you would show, your parents or your grandparents come around and you'd show them bowling, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool," and that would be the time you'd pull it out. Yeah, like, you wouldn't play it unless you had people around. And I feel like LABO is that again. Like, you would go, "Oh, look at this cool thing I made," to people who came round and show it off, but you'd never actually play it of your own volition.
No, definitely not. And you touched on the building process. I just kind of want to mention that because it's not something. Let's put it this way: it'd be difficult to have everyone round building it as a family.
Oh, right.
Now,
why's that?
So let's take the piano for instance. That was
you're breaking Gary's heart right now.
That was the most laborious of the variety pack.
Really?
Because
the piano.
Well, yeah, just to build.
So that's probably the first I'd build, I think.
That was the first I built, but
okay.
But because I wanted the end product, because I wanted the piano.
Hang on. The most what? Laborious. The most laborious.
Oh, jeez.
Did you not mean that? Was that not intentional?
No.
Oh, mate.
I didn't even pick up on that.
I mean, it is literally
laborious.
Yeah,
brilliant.
labor.
Yeah.
Carry on, Chris, please.
Careful.
Sorry.
And no worries.
Kids product.
So,
laborious. No, we ruined the kids product thing a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Like, there's no coming back. I'm surprised that's not been done yet.
Yeah. Oh, I'm working on it. So
okay, fair enough.
No. So the instructions pop up on the screen, and it literally goes step by step. So every kind of stage. So the piano is 5 stages. First stage, it will say get A and B cardboard sheets out of the box. Press these parts out of those sheets, and then you've got like the parts from the sheets, and then it shows you in relatively slow motion. Every fold line you have to fold. And there's like some have got like 15 fold lines, so it shows you each fold line being folded. You can forward it to make it a bit faster, but it's still not fast enough. So then once you've got that, you're having to watch it happen, and then you're having to go to your cardboard, fold the pieces of cardboard, do that, go back to the switch, press forward to make it forward along, go back to your cardboard, do the next bits, and then you've got that piece. Then you go to the next piece of cardboard, press forward to watch it fold the fold lines on the switch screen to then go back to the thing. So it's not like there's any option for you to go, right, Evie, you work on that bit, I'm going to work on this bit.
Okay, so it's
Holly,
not like
you do this
Lego
bit.
where you can have like a separate thing that you then add to the other thing.
It kind of,
right.
But it's just not. It's not great for you to build it together. I mean, I could go, right, Evie, you build this piece, and then I hold forward so she watches it being built, and then she tries building it, and then I'm like, right, I'll do this bit. That's not how I'd want to do it. I was looking forward to build it all.
Yeah,
like different parts all together.
To play devil's advocate, like, did they enjoy it? Like, it sounds like you did, but it was like, this is laborious, as you say. But did the kids actually really enjoy sitting down with Dad and building a piano?
They started with a few of them, but then they got bored because it takes, as you know, it takes hours. Like, the piano took me about 2.5.
That's a long time.
Maybe because that was the first one.
But
the fishing rod was like an hour and a half. The house was pretty easy to make, and that didn't take too much longer. And we ended up playing with that loads. I let them build the RC car because I wanted them to try and build a bit of everything, but they just were. Yeah. They were bored, and rightly so, because it is, as I say, it does take a while. But from my perspective, I found it, much like Lego, very cathartic. It's very calming to just build it.
Yeah. I like the idea that, like, I'm going to put my phone down, I'm going to come away from the computer, I'm going to come away from the internet, and I'm going to sit here and, like you say, like Lego, just build something that's completely distracted and separate from everything else. And I think I like that idea. But again, the problem I've got is that I don't know after that if... And I actually wonder if I'd even have the... I could be asked to do them all, but I think I probably, if I'd spent money on it, I probably would, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, what Nintendo have done here is, I still think it's exceptional because of the kind of... when you look at the fishing rod or you look at the motorbike, you see two handlebars, a base where you put your switch, but it's what's inside. It's all the mechanisms, all made out of cardboard. Like, it's insane how smart it is.
Hang on. There's a question for you. So the fishing rod, obviously, you got like a cardboard fishing rod that you turn, but there is some string on that goes into a contraption on the floor. Like, how does that work? Is it on a reel or something inside the machine?
Inside the box on the floor, there's like a little reel, and
how much of it then? How much are we talking? Like, how much string is there? I mean,
enough to be able to sit comfortably on a chair with, like, as an adult with that in front of you,
right,
and within enough distance to kind of to just play it. Like, there's loads of different... There's no spare parts, which I find a bit weird because, like... I mean, I've had all my... There's nothing's been missing, but the cardboard with some bits as well, it's dead flimsy because there's like...
So how is it holding up then? Like, because what, have you had it a week?
It's very good. It's, like,
any damage? Any...
No. Like, the girls knocked the bloody piano off the sofa the other night. And it was fine. Like, the keys fell out, but they're not difficult to put back in. But like just going back to the fishing rod, because the mechanisms really are fascinating. There's like the reel with the string that you pop in, and on either side of the little reel, there's just literally elastic bands tied to the cardboard on the outer bit of the box. Obviously, when you pull on it, that creates a kind of tension. And there's like that, like the motorbike. You're building handbrakes out of pieces of cardboard, and they're on the top of the right hand. And then to rev up, you pull in the right handlebar. You've got a start button on the right handlebar made out of cardboard that gets the bike going. So it's very smart, and it all kind of works really well. So there's a lot, as I say, there's a lot of attention to detail, and whoever designed it's done a great job of making them all as kind of realistic as possible. And when it all starts to come together, you really do appreciate what's been done here. But I think, as I say, if you're really into getting this, definitely give it a go. Because I think the variety packs, it's actually quite good because there are other things other than the piano and the fishing rod and the RC car. There are little other bits to it which people might appreciate. Like, there's a little mini bike you can build. There's a gun. There's all kinds of little bits and stuff to do. But
are people going overboard with this, Chris? Because a lot of the stuff I'm reading, so I don't doubt that it's genius. Like you've just said, the people behind it who've come up with how it all works, how the templates all come together. It's just absolutely fascinating and genius. But as a product you can buy, are people getting carried away? Because
so let's put this another way. If this was on the PlayStation, it wouldn't get as much attention.
Because I feel like a lot of what not the core, but kind of the core belief behind this is kind of Little Big Planety. Like, we're going to create this thing that you can play, the game part, the fishing part, and we're going to give you the tools to create mad stuff. And that happened with Little Big Planet. Like, there were levels that were just crazy, and that's already happening with Labo. Although I must admit, not quite to the degree I expected. I kind of figured that people would take this and run with it. I don't know, like, they call it Labo Kit, like, 001, and it makes me wonder how much of this they're going to do, because I guess that they must... I would expect, personally, they will announce some new Labo kits at E3, and everyone will go crazy again, like, oh, wow. I mean, Gaz, bring you in here a bit, mate. What do you think? What do you reckon? Especially what Chris has just said about if this were on PlayStation,
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I'm in the same boat in, like, that I think it's genius, but I just don't know how how much legs it's got really, because it's just not. I don't know. It feels like there's missed opportunities as well. I mean, like you've got like the robot, and they could have tie-ins with other franchises. It's essentially a transformer.
Yep. Well, I mean, the motorbike thing to me, every time I look at it, looks like Mario Kart.
Yeah, I mean, they could even have it like they could have made it like a Excite bike. Maybe some of this is all gonna be like DLC. Maybe they'll be released more.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. I mean, it's supposed to be. Aimed
Gaz,
at kids.
let me put it this way. If someone put out a template that you could build a Scudder with from Red Dwarf, and as an RC car, because I'm surprised no one's done that yet. Quite honestly, because it's even the right shape. You just need to have the cardboard head on the top.
Yeah.
Like, would you be up for it?
No.
Would you buy a Scudder Red Dwarf tie-in pack?
No.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, like when I played Little Big Planet, I didn't go too much into the building. Like I built a few levels.
Nobody I know did.
I built a couple of little levels, but nothing major. I think now LABO's problem is it's not a YouTube game.
No,
it's not. A lot of stuff like that these days is dependent on the videos that come out of YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that kind of help to sell it, and I don't think it's happening. I also think it might have been released too early. I think if they released it closer to Christmas, I think it probably would have gone pretty wild, but I'm not sure. I'm very down on this one.
I'm still interested, but again, I'm not. I don't think I'm going to buy it now. I don't think it's for me. I don't think it is at all for any of us, really. I think it's sort of more for Chris's kids, but I think, again, this is perhaps a very me problem, but I bet you two both agree with me. And if you don't, say so by all means. Of course, that's what we're here to do. But I feel like if I was going to find 2 hours, I don't know that I'd want to. I think I would build the piano, and then I would probably realise, hang on, if I've got another 2 hours, I think I just want to sit down with a controller and play a video game on my big TV. Mm-hmm. And I think that is not everyone's feelings. I'm sure there are people who are like, oh no, I love the idea of this, but I feel like for me, I would rather sit down and play a game. And I don't mean that this isn't a game, but it's a different kind of game, and that's fine, and it's something for everyone. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, Gary, would you rather not just play a game, or would you be happy building? Someone,
no, I like the idea of the building and stuff like that, but it's kind of like, if I'm going to build something, I'll go buy some Lego.
Yeah.
I just feel like
all I kept thinking was that.
Yeah,
I should get Lego.
Yeah,
would you, Chris? How much are you going to? What's the situation you're in now? You're at the point where by the time people hear this, the review will be near enough up, give or take.
The review, the review should be out there. But
what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to this? Like, if we round off this week's Labo chat, so to speak, with what do you feel going forward? What are you going to do? Are you going to play any more, or is it going to? It takes up space. Would you consider breaking it all down? Like, what do you mean? Where are you at?
So I will not be breaking it down. I feel that I've spent too long on it, and I really do like. I really do like the designs of them, and I think like my kids are going, oh, can we play it today? Can we play it today? So
okay, there you go.
Yeah, they really love it. So that's why I kind of want to keep it until the next fad comes out and they start waffling on about that. But they're very into it, and they love it all. They love playing with the RC car. I know it's a very simple thing to build, but they spent like quite a while with plans of what they were going to do, which parts they were going to colour, what they were, and that kind of really was really nice to see. And I think, going forward, for me, I'm not going to just pick it up and start playing with it, because it's just not really my bag. But I think if the girls say, oh, can we get this out, I'm more than happy to, because I love it when they want to play something which inspires them more. Like Minecraft, they're playing Minecraft as we speak, and because they love building and playing together. And I think any game that kind of makes children want to be creative or want to do something other than just sit there with a controller, I think brilliant. So if they want to play it, I will let them play it, but I will not.
So here's the final question for you then, right? And we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
take your children out of the equation for a minute and just think of this from your personal perspective. Do you wish I'd reviewed it and not you?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought Okay, I think that speaks volumes. Listen, we actually haven't got an awful lot to talk about at the moment because we I don't know, this is obviously our podcast and we chat about what we want to talk about. It's important that we get joy out of it, but we've talked a lot about God of War, so we're going to briefly, Chris and I have completed it. I think we've said about as much as you and I can say without spoiling Chris. And we are still mulling over a spoiler cast. It's waiting till everyone's available. But Gary, do you want to give us a brief update on how, have you fallen off? Do you hate it now?
No. It's so good. So good. No, I think I'm about halfway through now. Probably about 15, 16 hours worth. And I wasn't sure because, like you guys were saying, it's like 30 hours, but it never lets up. It always gives you something kind of new to keep you going, keep you interested. And you weren't wrong, like at all. It's like you kind of get to a point where it's like, oh, right, this feels like it should be the natural, like wrapping up point, or it should be slowing up a bit now. But then it goes, no, here's this and here's that, and you're just like, oh shit. And obviously, without spoiling, but I did a bit the other day, and it was just like sat there blowing my mind, and just like, oh my god, I can't believe this, and so good. It's sort of, you kind of just keep falling in love with it over and over. And I'm really I mean, I was enjoying it anyway. I thought it was brilliant, but I think now I'm really starting to see where the 10s are coming from. Yeah. And I could probably say that, at least at this point, I'm agreeing with them. And hopefully it's not going to fall off a cliff or anything, but I can't see that happening.
Okay.
I'm well enjoying it. I'm sort of itching to keep playing. Just trying to eke out those little bits of time where I can just go, can I go to bed a bit later tonight? Go on,
yeah, I did that loads of times during the pre-release period. I was like, I should be going to bed, but can I just push 20 minutes more in? And that turns into an hour very quickly.
Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're not going to go on about God of War every week. I'm also not going to go on about Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze because it's an old game. The Switch version is that game. The Funky Kong stuff makes it much easier because it's a tough game. It's my first time playing it on the Switch, and I'm going to be honest, it's not grabbing me in the way a Nintendo platformer usually does. I do like it. It's beautifully designed. The levels are wonderful, but it's too hard. I think it's too hard in spots. I think the Funky Kong stuff I might switch over to permanently because I feel like the main game, playing it as originally released, it's too hard. It's too much trial and error. And I don't know. I'd be interested to see if you guys play it or anyone who listens tell us what they think of Tropical Freeze, because I do, again, beautiful looking, wonderfully designed. You can really feel that level design is just meticulous, but I just feel like there's a little bit too much trial and error for a game like this.
Yeah, that always put me off. Like playing it in the first place.
So.
I just if I want to play a platformer, I want to play something like Mario, where you get a bit of challenge, but it's just fun. And when it's like, no, you're going to be dying a lot, I'm just like,
going back to I guess the ones I would put on top of the pedestal for that genre, Super Meat Boy, Super Mario World, and Celeste. Those are three I would put up there. But none of those games ever make me feel cheated because they don't expect me to read the future. They kind of show you what's on the screen, and you have to. It's a platformer, but it's almost a puzzle platformer because you have to understand how to traverse the difficulty. And I don't feel like Tropical Freeze does that. I feel like it is a more old-fashioned game in that you're running left to right most of the time. And I will say the boss fights are cool, and I love the animation, and it looks great. But I just feel like it's not grabbing me because it's a little bit too much trial and error. And then when you do die, I feel like it could. If you're playing a game that's so Super Meat Boy is a perfect example, as is Celeste. A game that knows you're going to die loads of times, so you die, you're back in it. Whereas Tropical Freeze is like you die, you got to see a little animation of Donkey Kong sort of floating on a balloon to signify you're using another life because the lives are balloons. Then he comes back into it, and it's like I feel like if you're gonna, and even on World 2 you start to die a lot, and I feel like that means that perhaps should just get you back in it a bit quicker.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So, this week we're going to talk about a lot of news, and we're going to start with I was going to say elephant in the room. It's not an elephant in the room. Everyone's talking about it. Red Dead Redemption 2, the trailer dropped. And Rockstar, what they do is they tend to pick a UK and an international or a USA exclusive partner for their previews. They did this with GTA 5 because, if I remember correctly, the UK one was CVG. I think, wasn't it? Because before, CVG still was around then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was them. If not, I apologise. Do correct me. So let's first of all then ask I'll just ask you, what did you guys make of the trailer? What do you think?
Well, I was expecting gameplay, and I saw no gameplay. Were you really,
though, or are you playing
devil's
advocate
I'm only
here?
joking.
I was going to say.
I'm fucking
Because you and I need to have a chat if you thought they played shit gameplay.
Absolutely insane. Like, half of that trailer was gameplay, and I didn't even notice until I read.
Some of it definitely is, yeah.
Like it's insane. Like, we all know it's going to be fantastic. It won't let us down. It will not be a disappointment. To what extent it'll be fantastic, we don't know. But at the minute, like, oh god, like, it just looks brilliant. And the little tease of Marsden at the end, right? Because he's
his scar.
Yeah. Like, just give it me now. I don't want to wait till October. I tell you what, since I finished God of War, I've just been so reluctant to play anything because I just feel
I can't
completely,
I feel broken.
Completely. Yeah, I just don't. Nothing is ever going to match that.
Yep.
And that's why
I don't think Red Dead will. I'm going to be honest.
Well, no, I'm thinking that, and I feel completely like deflated by it all. I'm just in a rut.
I do want to get Gary's trailer impressions. Yeah, so before I come back to I was going to ask you a question, but Gary, what is trailer?
Yeah, it looks good, but
yeah,
it's a Rockstar trailer though, so I don't know. It doesn't really give you enough.
So. I know some people were expecting gameplay, and I could have told everyone ahead of time that's not what Rockstar do.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do it. They don't put gameplay in those trailers. But the question, and I'm sort of playing devil's advocate here, okay, but only sort of, because it did. I was wandering around listening to, music and stuff, and I was thinking about this trailer for some reason, and this thought occurred to me, right? Is the reason they don't put gameplay in, or obvious gameplay in, because they don't have to, because, like, fuck everyone, we're going to sell millions, and they will. Like, I'll be completely honest, if I were Rockstar, I wouldn't send review codes out. Why would you bother? I wouldn't do it. They probably will. They don't do it very early, but they will do it, I expect. But I wouldn't. I'd save myself the money, because honestly, why bother? Like, it is literally there's nobody, I would say, and I'm doing myself out of a job by saying this, but there's nobody going to change their mind about this game based on a review. You're buying it. Everyone's buying it. Everyone listening to this podcast is buying it. However, do they not put gameplay in because of that? Or do they not put gameplay in because they don't have to for a different reason? Because here's the devil's advocate part. Do you not already kind of know what that game is? Like, if they announced GTA 6, right?
Yeah.
That it's going to be a Rockstar Grand Theft Auto game, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do in a GTA 6 that would surprise you? This is... So what I mean is, the way God of War has taken the God of War rulebook and ripped it up and gone anew, right? What is Red Dead Redemption 2 going to do that they could show in a trailer that's going to make you go, oh, wow, that's that same game, but it looks way better? Because, and that's... I'm not putting that down. No. That's fine. That's enough. Like, that's all, and they don't. That's probably the bare minimum they need to do to sell 1 billion copies. But do they really stand anything to gain from showing the gameplay?
No.
No,
I don't think they do. I think the reason people want this is because A, they know how good the last one was. B, they want the next gen Wild West to roam about in. Like, I just can't wait to just traverse the plains and see how good it looks on a modern console. I'm not really fussed about tweaks to the gameplay. Like, I know Rockstar can write a fantastic story, and that's what I want it for. I'm also looking forward to see the online side of it, but again, like with GTA, that took years to kind of hone, and when it was released, it was pretty dreadful. So the main story for me is what I'm looking forward to. That's what I want.
So I will say then, so that I mentioned the sort of exclusive partners. In the UK, it looks like The Telegraph had it. They had hands-on in an interview, and in America it was IGN. I mean, obviously it was IGN.
Yeah.
So IGN's preview reveals some stuff that I find quite interesting. And now, have either of you had a chance to read it at all?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, so for one, it sounds like there is a hub, which is not particularly unusual. You know, it's like a starting point to go from, but it sounds as though in that hub, it's like a living, breathing hub. So like they talk about like, oh, there's a guy who's looking after the food, and he's going to say to you like, oh, hey, we're running low on food. Could you go and get some for us? And you don't have to, but you can. And that sounds quite fetch questy.
Yeah.
And I want to add to that. Not only is that, again, choice. You don't have to do it. They're also apparently talking about. I mean, look, I will again preface this by saying IGN had 45 minutes of hands-on. That's not a lot of time with a game like this. Caveat: 45 minutes. The horse is it kind of sounds like Fable. Like the horse is the dog. You know, the horse is your companion. You have to treat your horse right. You have to look after your horse to get it to grow with you, kind of thing. It's a companion, not a vehicle.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
You are okay.
That's how
okay,
that's
that's
Breath
fine.
of the Wild that had that kind of element. To it. Not that in depth, but it was there.
Yeah, I mean, they're also talking about the world being massive and much bigger again, which I ain't going to bore people with my issue with. Like, I'm not that fussed about a huge world, make it an interesting world. Because I think if there's any developer that can make an interesting big world, Rockstar manage that. They do. That is one thing I will say they are very good at, making a huge world. Like GTA 5, for example, that's an interesting, living, breathing place. And I will say fair enough there. But what do you think of the idea that sounds like a lot more micromanagement going on in this game then? Again, 45 minutes, caveat,
yeah.
You know, it's all we've got to go on and we haven't played it, so...
I'm not that into... I don't like... A game like this is more about the action and exploration kind
right,
of.
Yeah. Do you want it to be realistic with micromanagement?
No. I mean, it depends on how... And like you say, if it's a choice, then fair enough. But if it's one of those things where it gives you the choice, but if you don't do it, it affects things negatively... It kind of isn't really a choice, you know. But
I suppose
I'm not that keen on it. But I could live with it if it's not too intrusive.
Chris?
Yeah. Again, I don't want constant micromanagement for 30 to 40 hours of the game. I'm just hoping it introduces a certain side of like looking after your horse, and then it just becomes like a natural thing to do as you play. I don't want it to be taking over the experience. So again, with like 45 minutes, I'll just wait until it comes out.
I mean, genuinely, God of War's broken me a little bit. Like, it's been a while since a game has... Probably Zelda would be the last one that affected me, where I just couldn't find the will to get into anything. I think God of War has like, Red Dead Redemption is my favourite game of the last generation. Like, I think a lot of people would say the same. I'm not saying anything groundbreaking there. But I feel like this one's been known about and coming for long enough now that I kind of don't want any more trailers. I don't need any more reveals. I just want to play it, because I feel like God of War has given any kind of action adventure game something to live up to.
Yeah.
Like, it really has.
Oh, yeah.
Because I keep seeing stories about God of War, like, I've read articles and heard people saying, I expect a game at 10 out of 10 from everyone like this to be pushing the industry, pushing, you know, an agenda of the industry forward, you know, pushing everything forward. And it's like, I don't think you understand direction and production if you don't think it is. Like, that's just my personal opinion. If you don't think God of War is pushing the industry forward, I don't think you understand production values. I don't think you understand game direction, because there are some moments in that are astonishing. And whether you like the game or not, I respect what's gone behind that. But I feel like, obviously, that game was in development for 5 years. Red Dead, God knows how long it's been in development for, but they would have been in development at the same time. So whereas we said, like, the games like Breath of the Wild, other games will learn from that, in the same way that PUBG changed multiplayer and people are now just doing Battle Royale. It took 6 months to a year, but that's a game mode people are putting into their game, rather than making a game that apes the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Breath of the Wild, we will start soon to see tastes of it in other games. I think it's too soon.
I think that's going to be a big thing for the next Elder Scrolls game.
Absolutely,
they're gonna look at Breath of the Wild and go, look, all the stuff that you can do in there. The fact that it's just natural. We need to be doing that.
I completely agree. I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this. I just feel like Red Dead 2 is still, like I was talking to Mick Fraser on the site, and he was saying like, "Oh, this game, I can't wait to play these." And I'm like, honestly, I think it's Red Dead for me next. Like, I don't feel like there's a game on the horizon that I'm dying to play.
No.
I don't know if
I'm trying to think.
I don't even. To be honest, Spider-Man.
Of course, but that is again. That's September. That's not far from.
Spider-Man. I don't even know what's out between now and that. To be fair,
I feel like I'm forgetting something.
A lot. Well, I mean, I can look down our sort of schedule here, and I can, there's a lot of. I mean, Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, Dark Souls Remastered. There's a Vampire June 5th.
I'm interested in
Not
that,
really,
but I don't.
It's Jurassic World Evolution. June.
Oh yeah, I want to play that.
Lego, yeah,
but yeah, I loved. Well, I loved Jurassic Park anyway, but I loved Operation Genesis, and this. Like, I've seen some of the gameplay stuff from it, and it looks like just I hate to say it, but an evolution of that. I'm into that. I'm happy about that.
I mean, I'm gonna just read these real quick. Okay, this is a big list. We've got time this week, so I'll ignore May because it is. Well, we'll start with Dark Souls Remastered. Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. Fallen Legion, The Elder Scrolls Online Somerset, BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, Vampire, Sushi Striker, The Way of Sushido on Switch. I mean, Mikhail's put that down here clearly because I've never heard of it. Super Bomberman R's coming to other consoles, Jurassic World Evolution, Lego The Incredibles, The Lost Child, Mario Tennis Aces, Wolfenstein 2 hits the Switch, Lumines Remastered. I'll play that. Captain Toad Switch and 3DS, Octopath Traveler, the expansion for Splatoon 2, Sonic Mania Plus, The Banner Saga 3, WarioWare Gold, World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, Yakuza Kiwami 2, Dragon Quest 11, SNK Heroines, and then we get to it. September Goes Mad, Spider-Man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Spyro Reignited, and in October Red Dead Redemption. Is a lot of. I'm not being disrespectful to those other games, but in comparison to September, October, there's a whole lot of nothing before then, isn't there?
A little bit.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be very quiet, unless there's some big, and it's available. Now, I genuinely wonder if Crackdown's a game where they're going to just say it's out now, or there's a beta out now, something out now at E3, I don't know.
I think we are definitely at that point where we're just waiting for E3. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Everyone's just waiting.
It's come very early. It's come very early. We're only a month off E3.
Yeah. But I think that's it. Know. There's a few little releases. Well, that sounds like I'm putting them down, but you know what I mean.
I just feel like the hype for Red Dead I've killed it. It's just dead. I just feel like I know that game's going to be brilliant. I know it is, and I can tell you now it will probably 94 or 95 Metacritic. I'm going to say. I think it might maybe push to 96 or 97. I think that game will get 10s across the board. Even in a way, even God of War didn't. It will make God of War look like it didn't get 10s across the board, which it did. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Speaking of seeing, we are going to have to see what happens here because Belgium have now declared loot boxes gambling and therefore illegal. Now, this is starting to happen in more and more European countries. It's not something that's happening too much in America because, I mean, America doesn't seem to give too much of a fuss about people's, protection and liberties. But, so I'm just going to read basically that Belgium has determined the following games. So basically, if a loot box is a game of chance, okay, if it is, then it's illegal because it's gambling. And it's also a case of, I believe there's some sort of stipulation within the report that if a game... So you know how... So I don't think PES is an example, but it's just because I've been playing PES and FIFA. But PES, you know how in my club where you can see the ball spin across the screen, Chris, and you press X, and and you can see a black ball, but you get a silver one.
Yeah,
that kind of thing, but not that. It's more that if you can see what you could have got, bully kind of see what you would have won, see what you would have won, that kind of thing. They consider that is basically them tempting you in to go again, and that also makes it gambling. So Belgian government, or the Belgian Gaming Commission, have they actually said Star Wars Battlefront 2 is fine, because of course they've removed all that stuff. But EA haven't escaped unscathed, because FIFA 18 has been listed, Overwatch has been listed, and CSGO has been listed. And what that means is that if this all goes ahead, and it is by the looks of it, EA will have to remove or change significant portions of Ultimate Team. Blizzard will have to do the same with Overwatch, or those games are illegal to be sold. If they're not removed, the publishers risk, and this is quote, risk a prison sentence of up to 5 years and a fine of up to €800,000. And where minors are involved, those punishments can be doubled. That's a statement from the Minister of Justice, Cohen Geens. And basically, he says FIFA 18, Overwatch, and CSGO are illegal, and their loot boxes must be rewarded. And if not, that's the punishment they're going to get. What do you think?
It is gambling to a point. Like I when I started playing Overwatch, I started to become a little obsessed with the skins, and like
easily done.
Yeah,
I'd want I didn't spend fortunes on it because I didn't have fortunes, but like I would spend a fair bit on getting some loot boxes because I wanted the skins. And I know there's people that obviously that do gamble with fruit machines or poker or whatever, that have much more of an addictive personality, and it can become an obsession. So I completely get what they're saying. It's just I'm quite shocked that it's actually coming to fruition so soon. But I don't know whether it's the right. I don't know. I think.
Well, I play FIFA today, FIFA 18, right? I realised now I wanted to play this because there's a new World Cup add-on they're going to release, and I actually think the timing of this is crucial, right? Because I happen to know some stats for FIFA Ultimate Team that I can't disclose here, but I will say that FIFA Ultimate Team makes EA saying a shitload of money does not do it justice. Right? it is a juggernaut, right? A huge part of Ultimate Team is building your team. You know this, Chris, you've played it. A huge part of an Ultimate Team is looking at your squad of 11 and going, well, I've got 50,000 coins and they've just released those jumbo gold packs. And so I booted up FIFA 18 this morning and I happen to have 50,000 coins and I don't really give a shit about them. And I was like, well, sod it. And this is literally the last thing I did before coming on this podcast. I left my son, he was playing it, and I said, he said, should I get one? I said, you know what, get him. It's on my account, just get him. So this pack, I'm going to butcher the numbers, but I'm going to say it was something like 16 cards, 10 of which guaranteed rares. Okay, opened that pack up, 50,000 coins, which is the equivalent of a decent amount of money, because I think it's like 100 points. In fact, you know what? Let's. I'm gonna do something I don't normally do. Ultimate Team pack prices. Okay, you're going to hear me typing, and I'm going to look it up right now. I'm going to work it out. This website looks fucking dodgy for a start. So I'm going to click back there. So I opened this pack. Now, Chris, how often would you say you've opened packs in FIFA? Do you do it?
I used to, fair amount. Not loads though, but I used to open quite a few, like a couple of FIFAs ago before Pez kind of stole my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how it works, and I know what you kind of expect.
So we opened this pack. I can't find the prices because there's too many dodgy sites doing their Google SEO. But I opened this pack. One player was 80 rated. That was the highest player, right? They were all shit. Every one of them. Not a single player improved my team. That was one pack at 40-odd thousand. I think it was 45,000 coins. That was one pack. Not a single player worth keeping. Not one. So I feel like what I would rather, and I believe they did this in China, is that they were, in terms of their laws, they require EA to show the odds. So when you click buy pack, I have a 0.1% chance of getting Ronaldo or something. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think it drills down that much. I think it's more a case of, 10% chance of a gold above 85 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a happy medium. That at least then you are being told these are your odds. Because these Ultimate Team packs are literally blind boxes. in the same way Overwatch, you click open loot box and it's a blind box. You could get anything. You could get duplicates. I think it's interesting because EA are going to have to do something about this, because the more countries do this, the more their market's trimmed down if they can't sell it without breaking the law. Like, FIFA 19's around the corner. They're going to have to, and it will be that game's usually released in September. They will be in late stages of development.
Yeah.
They're going to have to react to this in the same way we saw Star Wars Battlefront react to this, and it took them a couple of months, didn't it?
Yeah.
That means they've kind of got from now until around about release to get this solution. And I don't know what they do, because they rely on it so much for financial income.
Yeah, I think it's
at some point someone in the boardroom's going to have to say, we're going to have to take a hit on this, like they have with Battlefront 2. We're going to have to take a hit on this cash-wise.
Yeah.
It's going to take too big of a change, really, to just fix it now quickly before release.
What about if they took a year off?
They won't.
I mean,
has it?
I wouldn't think so, but like I've not even heard. So there's been leaks about PES, and listen, it's a news story. This, but we're talking about football games. PES 2019. They revealed that the game is going to be fully revealed on May 9th. I think a day after this goes live, this podcast. Because they had billboards during the El Clasico Barcelona Real Madrid match. Good match that, actually. Usual standard, chippy fouls and red cards and goals, but. PES 19, we have had a lot of sort of leaks about. FIFA's been, I've not heard a thing. And no. I would presume that's just, but EA are pretty leaky normally, right? Is it impossible? Again, I'm playing devil's advocate. Is it impossible that they've gone, well, look, we're putting out the World Cup add-on, so that will keep people playing. We're making loads of money on Ultimate Team anyway, and we can put a load of new players out and a load of new cards. Is it impossible they skip a year?
I think it is.
I mean, I think it is too. I am playing devil's advocate, but
I think, maybe they do it. I just don't see this happening either. But maybe they release it without Ultimate Team at the start. Like say, well, we add Ultimate Team like a little bit later.
Oh, I don't think they can do that.
Yeah,
guys.
I don't see them doing it.
That's how Ultimate Team started. It was a paid DLC add-on back in the 360 generation. I think it was like 1,800 points. You had to pay for it to add that on. So I don't think they can go back to that, even if it's a free add-on. Although, I suppose the rumours of Black Ops 4 rather, where they're thinking, the add-on, the single player later, maybe. I don't know. It makes them a lot of money, and it's going to be really interesting to see, because you think about like EA at E3 in the past, where they've had like Pele on stage and like, oh, Pele's icon card. Well, like, do you know what I mean?
I think they could possibly. This would take an awful lot of work to change it, but they could do it in a case of like a bit Fortnite style, where you could you'd buy money, basically in-game money, and you could be able to buy.
But you can already do that. You can already do that.
Okay, but you can
buy FIFA points.
You could, rather than having blind packs, you could buy whoever you want, but you'd have a limit on the amount that you could have in your, say like.
But you can already do that, because if I pack Ronaldo but don't want him, I can put him on the transfer market for a coin limit of my choosing, and people can buy them that way. Like packs is not the only way to get your team.
But what I mean is, rather
the gambling way, I suppose.
I'm assuming I don't play FIFA, so you'll have to kind of educate me on this. But I'm assuming if you unpack all these, you get, I know you're really lucky, and you get the best player for every single position on the field.
Yeah,
you can put them all on at once, no problem.
What on the?
When you're actually playing in the team, you could have
if you want to. It's all about chemistry, but if you really want to just put like Ronaldo in goal, I think you can do that.
I mean, like you'd have like Buffon in goal and like Ronaldo striker.
Yeah, you can do that.
You'd have the best player for each position.
Yeah, you can absolutely do it. Well, that's the idea. That's why they make so much money, because people buy the packs hoping they'll find a Ronaldo.
But if they changed that so that you could buy anyone you want, but you'd only be able to basically limit the amount you could have on the field, so you'd have like almost like a wage cap kind of thing, so you could only.
It would break the game. I think that would break the game. The problem is, if you go and try and buy a Ronaldo from the transfer market, you're talking like 1 million coins, right?
Right.
And so people, to get 1 million coins is a lot of work, so they just buy points to buy card packs to hope they get Ronaldo in the 5 packs they open. And that's where the gambling comes in.
Yeah.
I don't know what the solution is. I hope EA have got something in mind, because they must have seen this coming with the Star Wars Battlefront 2 stuff. They got very lucky there. They got it out in time, but I feel like they must have had this, because it's not just FIFA. Like, I think they're talking about FIFA because it's a European country and football's so big. Yeah. But Madden has Ultimate Team as well. And don't all of them now, Chris? Don't all of them? Like, doesn't NHL?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, NHL.
They all
even
have
UFC. And
that's right.
Madden,
and while they may not be as big as FIFA in Europe, they can still be purchased.
Yeah.
Speaking, well, anyway, we don't have the solution, and this is a developing story, I suppose. But speaking of making a lot of money, Fortnite has made more than $50 million on iOS alone.
That is nuts.
Yeah,
that is
must be like
mental.
Since
this swimming
$50 million
gold.
since March the 15th. March the 15th. 6 weeks, 7 weeks? I mean, what do you say? That's just the mobile version.
Yeah, it just proves how big Fortnite's become, that people are like, I've got it on PS4 or whatever, and I'm happy to just go out back, get the iOS version and just plow money into that as well. It's crazy, but I suppose it just shows how good it's doing, how good it is.
I mean, this sounds crap in comparison now, but also this week we want to tell you that God of War has sold more than 3.1 million copies in 3 days, which is that makes it the fastest selling PS4 first party exclusive. There is a message from Shannon Studstill, which really sounds like Stood Still. That's a superb name. The VP of Product Development, head of Santa Monica. I would like to personally thank the millions of fans around the world who decided to hop on Kratos' latest adventure with us. Your support is truly inspiring, and it's a reason why we push ourselves every day to go beyond the boundaries of play. I'd like to thank our amazing team at Santa Monica Studio. The passion for storytelling across the team is undeniable, and I hope it's clear that we never settle for what's convenient. We look forward to hearing more about our fans who are enjoying the game and creating new memories of their favourite God of War gameplay moments that will be remembered for decades to come. Yeah, I mean, just a tiny little story there, but well done.
Yeah,
God of War, well done, Kratos.
Yeah.
Moving on, again, this is a strange story to talk about because this is a podcast as an audio form, but Beyond Good and Evil 2 has had a new video released that showcases some of the combat. It's in very early stages. I'm rather excited about this game, and I wondered what you guys thought of that.
I never played the original, so I have no excitement about it. Sorry.
I need to go back because I played. I had the PC. I had the PC version of the original, ages ago when it came out, kind of thing. And I played a little bit and just never went back. Not because it was bad or anything. I think it just wasn't speaking to me at the time. But I now have the Xbox One version, which I want to say was free at one point on Games of Gold. So at some point maybe I'll go back and play it because I do remember enjoying some of it. I think it was like the stealth stuff that put me off. I've never been a big fan of stealth, so there was a bit of it in that. But I watched a bit of this video, the combat video.
It's very pre-releasing, isn't it?
It's not really much of a video. It's most of it is just clips of like people telling you what's going to happen.
It looks really Ubisofty.
Yeah. Well, wonder if it'll have towers.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Chris, I'm absolutely speechless, Chris.
I thought you might be. Like, what? Can I play it now? Is there a console that has it on backwards compatibility or anything?
Yeah,
see, here's the thing,
Xbox
Chris.
One. You can play it on Xbox One.
The reason I'm so speechless is because I've only played an hour of it myself. So, because I was the same as you, I just missed it somehow. And I liked the hour I played, but it has aged in terms of the camera and stuff. But I did like it. I wanted to play more. I ran out of time. So I am excited for this, and I'm hoping I can get through that first game at some point. But again, that's not the game to play when a game like God of War has broken you. It's not. But maybe Nier Automata is because we don't normally do rumours and stuff because the time we record, sometimes by the time it's live to everyone, because of course you can hear it earlier if you're a Patreon for $1 a month, you get the podcast early and extended. But Jeux Video, who are usually pretty good, have reported that Nier Automata may be coming to Xbox One. And I think that would be fantastic. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. The more people can play this, the better.
Because it's not a Sony first-party game.
No.
It's
just a bit like Persona. It's just an exclusive because it's a Japanese developer wanting to make, But that would be really cool, right?
Yeah, very.
Like Mikhail's put in the story, I believe that Automata is coming to Xbox One at some point, and hope if it does materialise, they can include Nier, the original, as an Xbox 360 back compatible game, like as a bonus.
That'd be really smart.
I mean, apparently that's not a very good game, but whatever.
No, it'd still be cool to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on then. That's all the news for this week. Let's move to listener correspondence, where Chris Hyde at Chris Hyde 83 asks the question that hopefully you guys have been thinking about. Here it is then. What's the one thing you hope will get announced at E3, but will never happen? Now, I've got one.
Yeah, me too.
By all means. Yeah? Go for it, Gaz.
Legacy of Kain.
Yeah.
I want to see that come back, but it's never
I've got two now then. Yeah.
Half-Life 3. No, only joking.
Maybe even Resident Evil 2 remake at this point.
I love another Portal game.
Yep, okay.
True.
So that'll be mine.
My one's a little bit different, a bit out of left field. My one is that I hope they announce there's not going to be an E3 next year. Because as much as I love E3, like, it's so much work.
Yeah.
And it's so much work, and I'd love them to go... Because I think E3 keeps evolving in small ways. Like, this year, more than ever, like Microsoft have moved their conference. We know Nintendo just do a Direct. More and more big publishers are going, we're going to do our own thing. It just happens to be near E3. Like Bethesda do it, EA do it. Now Microsoft are sort of pulling away a bit. Nintendo do it. Like, it's becoming a longer event because of that. But at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like over the years of doing this job, like, not that they're badly written, but every time I get a preview back from someone on the show floor, I look at it and go like, this is almost a waste of time. Because there's such small demos, and like, I've got to the point now where if an email comes through and we are going, and I don't think we're going to even be going this year, if I'm honest with you, but I get an email through about a meeting and it says, eyes on, I just say no, because I don't want to waste anyone's time going to watch someone else show you the game when they're then going to release that video online 2 weeks later. Like, it has to be playable. It has to be. And... yeah, I don't know. E3 I still enjoyed for the conferences, but it's always in the past for me been such a lot of, again, first world problems. It's been such a lot of effort and work, and we already do enough work in this industry that I don't know. I mean, I stopped staying up for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't stay up for it anymore. I can't. I fall asleep. But I don't know. Anything else you guys wish would be announced but will never happen?
Part of me wants... I've said this, like, the last couple of years, and it's still not materialised, but Warcraft 4. It's like, It's like Blizzard have forgotten where Warcraft started, and they're just like, unless it's World of Warcraft, they don't care anymore, and I'd just like to see, especially with how well StarCraft 2 did, give that team Warcraft and just, let them go nuts.
I mean, I kind of want Crackdown to be dated for this year, but I also kind of think it has to be, because either they do that or they don't even mention it at all, and that game's gone. It's dead. I'm sure that will be announced. I
think it's coming. I just don't know when. And
it's got to be this year, Gaz. It's got to be, or they may as well not bother.
It needs to be, but whether it will, I don't know. But
I think it needs to be out in July. I think it needs to be out in July. Quite honestly.
Yeah, it needs to be like we'll show it at E3 and then go, and it's out next month or whatever.
Yeah, I think it needs to be the summer game everyone plays, because we just talked about the lull until September. I think this needs to be the September, the sort of the game that, in the past Square Enix used to do it, like when they did Deus Ex Human Revolution, that was an August game. This needs to be the July-August game, or they may as well not bother, because it's going to do nothing. But then, I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on with Microsoft. Like, they seem to only invite select few people to go and play State of Decay 2, and the game didn't do that well with previews. It's like, surely that's fucking hell, Microsoft, when you've got an exclusive to show, get everyone talking about it.
Especially something like State of Decay 2. I mean, State of Decay, brilliant game, but it's still an indie game. It's not this massive, all-encompassing thing. It's not like Fortnite, for example. It's not.
Yep.
Not.
It's not a big game.
Yeah,
it's not. I'm sorry. It's not a big game.
Yeah, and I know this is still an indie game, really, isn't it? It's just Microsoft have put a bit into it.
Undead Studios got. Well, no, Microsoft bought Undead Studios, didn't they?
Right. Okay.
So it's still a small game. It's still a small game.
Yeah, it's not like it's had everything ploughed into it, and for some reason they're not really marketing it. They're not showing it enough, and I don't understand it. You want it, considering we all know it. Xbox exclusives are a bit thin on the ground. And when they are coming, they're kind of the same stuff most of the time. Sea of Thieves was a bit different, but that, again, because of Game Pass, I think it's... I think there was a story, was it last week, where it was basically like...
They lost half the players,
Yeah, as soon as like that kind of
But
Game
we said
Pass
that, we
period
called that.
Yeah, and... It's a shame, because it is a good game. We've been through all that, we won't go through that again, but I just wonder if this is going to be the same. And...
I'd throw. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I think it's gonna be the same. I think people will play it and fall off it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want that to happen because I love the first game, and I know this one apparently is a bit more it's kind of the same. It's a bit buggy, it's a bit rough around the edges, but as long as it plays as well, I'm not that bothered about that. Of course, I'd like it to be perfect, but that's not the way things work. So.
I mean, I've got 3 quick things I could throw out on the list here. I'd love to see a Dead Space reboot. Never happening. I'd love to see the 3rd game in the Rayman Legends series. Don't think that's ever going to happen. And I'd love to see an Overwatch single-player campaign announced and released. So, but they're not going to happen. But Chris, anything from you? Anything you'd love to see that will never happen?
No, not off the top of my head. Like, I'm just, as I say, Portal was like one of my favourite series. I'd love to see a new Portal. Obviously Half-Life 3, but that's forever the running joke.
Left 4 Dead 3.
Left 4 Dead 3, that'd be insane. And obviously Silent Hill, but it's not gonna happen, is it? Not gonna happen.
That my heart's been broken over that too much.
I would actually I would love to see an announcement for a Metal Gear Solid game that continued the series without Kojima.
That's the ultimate trolling, Chris.
That'd be amazing. Because if it was good, oh man, I don't know. I think they could do it still, but hashtag. I'm not going to say it because I don't believe in it.
Don't say it.
No, I fucking yeah. No, sorry.
McPoo over on Discord asks us, which Nintendo series needs the Breath of the Wild treatment next, i.e. a game that takes the series formula and completely reinvents it. Personally, I think Pokemon would benefit from a big change. I've not really enjoyed one of those properly since the Game Boy Advance days. Well, I mean, Pokemon is the actual is kind of the shout there, isn't it? Like, I think Pokemon is the game that, with it coming to Switch, could do with a big old RPG overhaul.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they are doing, but they've not specified any details, so it could very well be in that kind of vein.
I don't think it will be, but yeah.
No, I don't think it will, but I agree. I'd love to see Pokemon like open world like that. I think it'd look gorgeous, and all the Pokemon running about, and yeah, it'd be wicked. Yeah. But there's not. I mean, Nintendo. It's such a small. Like, there's not loads of properties that I could think of that would.
What about Metroid?
I was going to say Metroid,
I know they're doing
but
Prime, but is it?
Yeah,
I feel like that's going to be dated if they just basically make the old Prime games but prettier.
The problem with Metroid 4 is that they've not confirmed, but it's heavily rumoured that Bandai Namco are developing that one.
Yeah.
And that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that Bandai Namco don't make good games, but why it's not kind of Nintendo first party, as it were.
I mean,
or Nintendo internal.
If it is true, it does make you wonder, if Nintendo really is that bothered about Metroid. I know it's not one of their biggest sellers, I know that these days, but it's still like, people love it. People want... I mean,
those reaction videos were nuts.
Which one, sorry?
The reaction videos to the Metroid announcement. Like, did you see the video after E3 in the Nintendo store? There were people watching it, and it was like the celebrity just come on stage. It was insane. The reaction was incredible.
And that's probably about right, really. People want it.
I want to say Animal Crossing, because those games have remained largely the same throughout. But I kind of also just want an Animal Crossing on Switch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think
yeah. I kind of want both, you know.
They could update it, and it's like they could make it a bit more of a, not an MMO, but a bit more multiplayer, I suppose. You could go to other people's towns and stuff like that, but they could perhaps expand upon that a little bit. But I don't know what Donkey Kong. Really do.
I'd love to see a Donkey Kong like Super Mario Odyssey.
What, like 3D?
We're just like swinging around in the jungle, a la Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation. I was just going to say,
what if they made Donkey Kong into Spider-Man?
Yep, I'd buy that shit, definitely.
I just thought of one thing I'd like to see, actually, is a new Maker game from Nintendo. Be it a Switch port of Mario Maker.
I do believe, Gary, that if they don't announce Mario Maker for Switch at E3, it's never happening.
Yeah. I still think they could do more with that franchise. They could make it a franchise. You could have Zelda Maker. Make your own 2D Zelda. Because you could still do the thing where you could change the way it looks and have like the 3D style, but it'd be like Link Between Worlds, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they could expand it to even like Donkey Kong and stuff like that. But I suppose the downside is they'd probably all end up like Mario Maker, where it's just a dick measuring contest of see who can make the hardest level, and that for me it kind of killed that game for me a little bit, because it's like, just make fun levels a little bit, not everything has to be ridiculously hard.
Do you know what they could do in relation to this question? They could make Smash Brothers a good game, couldn't they? That's something they could do. They could take Smash Brothers and turn it into a good game, an actual good video game. They could do that, I think. It's definitely potential. Well, maybe asking a lot, but like the idea of all these great characters having a mashup, they could actually make that into a fun game, a good fun game, and that would be pretty cool.
I think the problem, I don't know, this is a bit of an elephant in the room thing, but the problem with Nintendo is its fans really hate it when things change.
Yeah, but doesn't Breath of the Wild give them a chance and they'll do a number,
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
I guess it's one we'll have to see on that one.
Indeed it is. Well, it's time to say goodbye now, anyway, and obviously you can follow Chris at First Avenger 83, myself at GBSF, Gary at Blue Fury 47. I suspect Adam Carroll will be back next week. Just a pad of scheduling thing this time. Bank holiday in the UK, so we took a weekend off. Why not? Hey, you're allowed. It's all right. It's nice out there. Couple of ciders, fall asleep, that sort of thing. Do remember, though, however, if you like this podcast and you want more of it, go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek, and for $1 a month, you will get it early and you will get it extended, and you will hear a big, long chat about Marvel and other stuff that aren't games. And we will hopefully at some point bring you a Marvel's spoiler cast for Infinity War. We're looking at the God of War spoiler cast. This sort of stuff will come to patrons early. Do go to facebook.com/GodIsAGeek. Do go to Twitter/GodIsAGeek. Everywhere, the site GodIsAGeek.com. And importantly, do rate and subscribe and leave reviews of this podcast on iTunes, because it helps visibility and it shares your love of us with everyone else. Gary, Chris, thank you very much for being here this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will speak to you next week, or whenever you choose to listen. Bye bye for now.